Abdul Rahman ibn Auf radiyallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, on the day of judgment, three things will be under the shade of the arsh of Allah. One, the Holy Qur'an, which will argue with men. The Qur'an has both an exterior and an interior. The second will be amanat, trust. The third will be kinship, which shall proclaim, O Allah, have mercy on the person who upheld me, and deprive him of your mercy whosoever severed me. Three things will be under the shade of Allah. Shade of the arsh of Allah signifies their most nearness in the sublime presence of Allah. The Quran will argue means that it will plead the cause of one of those people who read it, respected it, and acted upon its commandments. It will intercede on their behalf and solicit the upbringing of their rank. Mullah Ali Qari rahmatullahi alayhi has narrated on the authority of Tirmidhi that in the presence of Almighty Allah, the Holy Quran will beg Allah to grant an apparel to its reader. Almighty Allah will give him a crown of honor. The Quran will again beg for additional favors for him. Thereupon, Almighty Allah will award the reader a complete robe of honor. The Quran will again beseech Allah to be pleased with him, and Almighty Allah will express His pleasure to him. We find in this life that the pleasure of the beloved is considered to be the most coveted gift. Similarly, in the life hereafter, no bounty shall stand comparison with the pleasure of our beloved Almighty Allah. And in the case of those who ignore their duty towards the Quran, it will challenge them, saying, did you care for me? Did you fulfill your obligations towards me? It has been reported on the authority of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi in Ihya that it is the due right of the Quran that it should be read completely twice a year. Meaning every Muslim should do at least 2 khatams in a year. Those of us who never care to read the Quran should first consider how they will defend themselves against such a strong plaintiff. Death is inevitable and there can be no escape from it. So we should read the Quran, fulfill the right of the Quran. Otherwise, Quran will put a case against us. In another hadith, Al-Quranu hujjatun laka aw alayka. Quran is an argument for you or it's an argument against you. This is meaning of Quran will do hujjat in the court of Allah. And those who read it, respected it, acted upon it, Quran will say, oh Allah, let him off because he respected me. I am doing shafaat, sifarish for him, and you have to let him go. And those who didn't, then Quran will say that he neglected me, I want my haqq from him, and that person will suffer the punishment because of his neglect of Quran. This is why Hazrat said, death is inevitable, no escape from it. Therefore, we should try our best to fulfill the haqq of the Quran. The meaning of the expression exterior, interior of the Quran is evident. The Quran has an apparent meaning which can be understood by all, but the deeper spiritual significance is not understood by everybody. It is in this connection that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whosoever expresses his personal opinion in respect of anything in the Quran commits a mistake, even if he be right in his opinion. Some scholars hold that the word exterior refers to its words, which can be recited properly by everybody with tajweed, and the word interior, the spirit, refers to its meaning and its underlying ideas, the understanding of which varies with the ability of the readers. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said, if you seek knowledge, you should meditate on the meanings of the Quran, because it embodies the history of the former as well as of the latter times. It is, however, essential to observe the prerequisites for interpreting the Quran. An unbecoming present-day fashion is that even those who possess little or no knowledge of Arabic vocabulary offer their personal opinions on the basis of vernacular translations of the Quran. Specialists have laid down that anyone attempting a commentary on tafsir of the Holy Quran should be well versed in 15 subjects. They are briefly given below. So Hazrat said over here, the interior meaning is understanding its meaning and then explaining it. Hazrat said for that you need 15 sciences: Nahw, Sarf, Lughat, Ishtiqaq, علم المعاني, علم البيان, علم البديع, علم القراءة, علم العقائد, أصول الفقه, أسباب النزول, الناسخ والمنسوخ, علم الفقه, knowledge of the hadith that are connected to tafsir of Quran. And last important, number 15, is Wahabi ilm. When you have these, when you master these sciences, then you can become a mufassir and do tafsir of Quran. But what's happening today is every Tom, Dick and Harry takes translation and starts explaining Quran. This is what I think Quran means, and this is what I think it says. But what you think is not what Quran says. You have to be careful in matters of Quran. Hazrat Shaykh Rahmatullah said that people today are taking Quran very lightly without having any expertise. They go into detail, meanings, intricacies of Quran, try to interpret it, and they make blunders. May Allah protect us. So Hazrat Shaykh has gone in there, but what Hazrat Shaykh has written, I've explained it in my Tuesday tafsir. So we'll go into the next studies. Number 9. عن عبد الله بن عمرو رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقال لصاحب القرآن اقرأ وارتقي ورتل كما كنت ترتل في الدنيا فإن منزلتك عند آخر آية تقرأها. رواه أحمد والترمذي وأبو داود والنسائي وابن ماجه وابن حبان في صحيحه. Abdullah ibn Amr radiallahu anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, on the day of judgment, it will be said to the man devoted to the Quran, go on reciting the Quran and continue ascending the stories of Jannah. Read and rise, and recite in the slow manner you had been reading in the worldly life. Your final abode will be where you reach at the time of the last ayat of your recitation. The man of Quran apparently means a hafiz of Quran. Mullah Ali Qadi has explained it fully that this honor is reserved for a hafiz, and that this hadith does not apply to the one who reads by looking into the holy book. First, because the words man of Quran points towards a hafiz, and secondly, there is a tradition in Musnad Ahmad hatta yaqra'a shay'an ma'ahu, till he reads of whatever Quran is with him. This word more clearly refers to a hafiz, although a reader who remains very often engaged in reciting the Quran may also be implied. It is written in Mirqat that this hadith does not apply to a reader who is accursed by the Quran. This is with reference to the hadith that there are many readers of the Quran who read the Quran, but the Quran invokes curse upon them. Therefore, reading of the Quran by a person who does not adhere to the correct tenets does not constitute an argument that he is acceptable to Allah. Many hadiths of this type relate to the Khawarij, a sect who were opposed to Hazrat Ali karramallahu wajhahu and who had incorrect beliefs. So these hadiths could be referring to them. In this commentary, Shah Abdul Aziz Muhaddis Dehlavi rahmatullahi alayhi has written with regards to tartil. That tartil literally means reading with good and clear pronunciation, while according to Islamic principles, it means reading in accordance with certain rules as follows. The rules of tajweed, like the alphabet should be uttered correctly to ensure that pronunciation of ta is not mixed with ta and dod and so forth. Secondly, stopping correctly at the pauses so that joining or finishing of verses may not take place and at inappropriate places. Thirdly, the correct pronunciation of the vowel sounds, meaning zabar zer pesh. Raising the voice slightly so that the words of Quran uttered by mouth may reach the ears and thus influence the heart. 5. Setting the sound in a way that if it may become full of pathos and may affect the heart quickly, because a pathetic voice influences the heart at once, moves and strengthens the soul more effectively. A pathetic with a routine, a lehja, influences the heart. The physicians are of the opinion that if a medicine is required to affect the heart quickly, it should be given a sweet smell by means of perfume, for the heart is sensitive to sweet smell. And if the medicine is required to affect the liver, it should be sweetened with sugar, because the liver likes sweet things. Therefore, if a perfume is used at the time of recitation, it will have a better influence on the heart. 6. Tashdeed should be fully pronounced, because this reveals the grandeur of the Quran and adds to its effectiveness. 7. As stated earlier, the reader's heart should respond to the ayat indicating mercy of Allah or chastisement by Him. The above mentioned 7 rules constitute to the correct way of reciting the Quran, which is called tartil, and the sole object of all this is to reach the correct understanding and grasp of the deeper meaning of Holy Quran. Hazrat Salama was once asked by someone how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to recite. She said, in a way that all vowel sounds were made clear and the pronunciation of each letter was distinct. It is desirable to recite the Quran with propriety, even if one may not understand the meaning. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said that he preferred to recite with propriety short surahs like Al-Qari'ah or Idha Zulzilat, rather than to recite otherwise long surah like Ali Imran without it. The commentators and learned scholars explain the above mentioned hadith to mean that for each ayat recited, the reciter will be elevated to a higher level in Jannah. From other hadiths, it appears that there are as many levels in paradise as the number of ayat of the Holy Quran. Therefore, the status of a person will be raised by as many levels in paradise as the number of ayat in which he is well versed. As such, the one best versed in the whole Quran will reach the highest levels in Jannah. According to Mullah Ali Qari rahmatullahi alayhi, it is mentioned in a hadith that there is no level in Jannah higher than that given to the reader of the Quran. So the readers will ascend in proportion to the number of ayat recited by them in the dunya. Allama Dani rahmatullah alayhi says that authorities agree that there are 6,000 ayat in the Quran, but some differ. There is some difference of opinion about the number over and above 6,000. There are variously reported to be 204, 14, 19, 25, 36. It is written in Sharh al-Ihya that each ayat corresponds to a higher level in paradise. So a reader will be asked to ascend according to his recitation. One who reads the whole of the Quran will attain the highest level in paradise, and one who knows only a part of the Quran will rise up to the proportionate level. In brief, the stage or level reached will be fixed by the number of ayat recited. According to my understanding, the above hadith has a different meaning. I think that the elevation implies in this hadith is not that which can be determined by the number of verses recited. When one verse be recited, the status will be raised by one step, whether it be read with propriety or without. But this hadith points to another kind of elevation, which is a type of an inner experience and is related to the recitation being with propriety or without it. So a person will be able to read in the same way as he reads in this worldly life. Mullah Ali Qari Rahmatullahi Ali has quoted from one hadith that if a person reads the Quran very often in his life, he will remember it in the life hereafter. Otherwise, he will forget it. May Allah help us there. There are many among us who memorize the Quran in their childhood through the religious zeal of the parents, but through sheer carelessness and negligence on their own part, have forgotten this capability in the latter part of this very life. It is mentioned in other hadiths that one who dies while laboring and working hard to commit the glorious Quran to memory will be reckoned among the Huffaz. Allah's bounty has no limits. We should only seek it. As a poet says, Uske altaf to aam hai shahidi sab par, tujhse gyazid thi agar tu kisi qabil hota. O Shahidi, his bounties are common for all. You could not be denied these bounties if you were of all worthy. So it does not mean that the ranks will be according to the number of ayat. It means according to the inner state and condition in which one recited. If one recited with khawf and fear and khushu and khudu, then that is the manner in which his rank will be raised. Some people are not hafiz, but they recite Quran a lot. Others are hafiz, but they don't recite it at all and they forget. So the person who recited it will have higher stages. There are some Shaykhul Hadiths who were not Hafiz. Shaykh Yunus Sahib was not Hafiz. Our Hazrat Maulana Islamullah Sahib was not Hafiz. Hazrat Allama Anwar Shah Kashmiri was not Hafiz. So it doesn't mean their rank will be lower than the Hafiz. Their rank will be higher because they used to recite Quran a lot and with more khushu, khudu and concentration than others. So Hazrat says, this is the second meaning which comes to my mind. Hadith number 10. Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu says, whosoever reads one letter of the book of Allah is credited with one blessing, and one blessing is equal to 10-fold, and the like thereof in its reward. I do not say alif lam mim is one letter, but alif is one letter, lam is one letter, mim is one letter. The hadith affirms that whereas ordinarily for the purpose of reward as an act as a whole is taken into account, but in the case of Quran, it is not the whole act, rather it is its parts also count. Thus, in reading each letter is counted as one good deed, and the reward of each good deed will be increased 10 times as promised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Man ja'a bil hasanati falahu ashru amthaliha. One who brings a good deed, for him will be 10-fold the like thereof. 10 times, however, is the minimum increase. Wallahu yudha'ifu liman yasha. Allah multiplies the reward for whomsoever He desires. That each letter of the Holy Quran, when read, amounts to a good deed has been illustrated by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam by saying alif lam mim is not one letter, but alif, lam and mim are all three separate letters. So it will comprise 30 blessings. There is a difference of opinion among scholars whether alif lam mim is the beginning of the Surah Baqarah or Surah Fil. Alam tara kaifa. Is it alif lam mim of Surah Baqarah or is it alam tara of Surah Fil alam? If it is the beginning of Surah Baqarah and only 3 letters are counted as they are written, then the blessing will be 30. And if it is the beginning of Surah Fil alam, alif lam mim, which is the beginning of Surah Baqarah, will be 9 letters. Therefore, its reward will be 90 blessings. Bayhaqi has reported another hadith similar to this portion of the above mentioned hadith. I do not say Bismillah is one letter, but uphold that Ba, Sin and Mim are separate letters. Imagine for every letter 10 hasanat nekis. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim has 19 letters. So 190 hasanat for reciting Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad has how many letters? 99 letters. So 990 hasanat. Surah Yasin has how many letters? 3,000. So Surah Yasin will bring you 30,000 hasanat. Imagine how much reward a person gets for reading Quran. This is why we are stressing that after Asr, now in Ramadan, everybody must be reading Quran. Even if you don't know how to read the Quran, just take Quran in your hand and go through the pages. You know, this reminds me of a story which I heard from Hazrat Maulana Bilal Sahib. That there was this, alim who was traveling, and in the olden days they used to travel on foot. So he passed by this village and there was this janaza. So people were waiting. So he approached them, what's going on, bhai? Said, we don't know how to pray janaza and we are waiting for someone to pray the janaza. So he said, okay, bring me some water. Did wudu, he led janaza. And then he buried the person. And then he thought to himself, yeah, these people, they don't even know janaza. He said that if you allow me to stay with you for a few days, I will teach you the basic necessities of deen about janaza and whatever, namaz and ghusl and kafan and everything. They said, all right. So he stayed there, postponed his journey. And at night he saw a dream that the person whom they buried is in a very nice condition. I know, in his qabr grave, he's got flowers and fruits around him, and he's in a good state. They asked, who are you? And he said, that same person you prayed janazah and you buried today. Wow, subhanallah. So he didn't understand how he is in such a good state in barzakh, in qabr. So next morning, he went to the deceased house and asked the family that did he have any special amal or practice or anything. So they said that nothing special. He was a normal person, a farmer. He would go to the farm and work throughout the day in the fields. But he was very punctual of his 5 daily namaz. And one good habit of his was that he couldn't read the Quran, but every day in the morning, he would take Quran from the high shelf, sit down with it, and he would pass his finger over the lines of Quran, and he would say, Mere Allah ne ye bhi sach kaha hai, Mere Allah ne ye bhi sach kaha hai, Mere Allah ne ye bhi sach kaha hai, Mere Allah ne ye bhi sach kaha hai. Whatever my Allah said over here is true. 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 And then he would, for a little while he would do that. Then he would put the Quran away, kiss it, and put it in its place. He would be crying because he couldn't read the Quran. He was ummi, unschooled. There was nobody to teach him how to read the Quran. So in his old age, he can't learn, and he was regretting. So this was his amal. So the alim said, it is because of this amal, Allah has given him a nice abode in barzakh. He's in a good state. I saw this dream last night. This is his love for Quran Sharif. This is why we must have love for Quran Sharif. Take it in our hands, read it. Read it. If we are not going to read in Ramzan, when are we going to read it? We don't read it throughout the year. So at least in Ramzan, make a habit of taking the Quran and reading it. This was a good practice among our elders. If you see in India, they used to read Quran a lot throughout the year, and especially in Ramzan, everybody would be into Quran. But slowly, we are over here in this Western world, and many things have drifted away from us. So this habit of tilawat has also faded away. So we need to bring it back into our system. In Ramzan, we should read as much Quran as we can. May Allah give us tawfiq to do so. Jazakumullah. Sorry for taking too much time. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam ala sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Everybody